I had no clue what architecture is. Leave this world more beautifully than you found when you were born. And it looks so simple because I used to see Piraji Sadra. Been lucky to have master like Osho, especially having seen him live.
Young generation should explore. Indian youth is, suffering from AIDS.
Though the journey of being student stays. And if you have only good hardware, but if you don't have software also, then your hardware has no meaning. I have seen people, who look very handsome but dumb, okay?
So these are the criteria. And obviously, being a good Jew, I would also want a good discount,
Okay, use me. Use me. The professor also old. Still, in our college, they teach us how to ring phone call, by...
And every time I felt that, no, still better, still better, still better.
They run away from the office. It looks so dumb. So they had no clue about what we were doing. Dona. Now they themselves are very happy. Yeah, there's always 6 cents after 5 cents.
Hello everyone, welcome to the series, the BIM Shift, and today we have architect Manish Banker with us. अब उनका इंट्रो में दूंगा ज़्यादा कुछ तो छोटा मुंह बड़ी बात हो जाएगी. Simple short, he is the person who taught me architecture. He was my faculty, and today I feel fortunate that I am here talking to him in his studio. So he is our guest and host, and I would want to be very informal and very simple with you. This should flow.
Okay.
I don't have any set questions or I don't have any set script, and I can't even do that. So let's have a conversation.
Yes.
Which should touch upon your passion for architecture, your understanding of technology, how you see in future it is going to help you and how it is helping you currently, and what any other thing you want to add on to. One thing about his introduction I would like to share. He has been very fortunate to witness Osho talking live from stage. So if I'm not wrong, you have seen Osho live from stage. So that's something like which I feel that many of us, at least this generation, have missed that chance. So this is just one thing added to his experiences. So Manish sir, how from ID Vidyanagar to Ahmedabad to Pune, tell us something about that journey. Because that is something that you did architecture from IED, so from Vidyanagar. Then I know that you are from Ahmedabad, and then you are completely here. So we would like to know more about that transition.
Yes. No, thank you, Shivang, for calling me for this lovely podcast. And I truly appreciate your passion, not only for architecture, but communicating technology, which actually helps architects to bring their work much more easier through the softwares. And but yes, coming back to your question, that how I traveled from Ahmedabad, and then the Vidyanagar. Ahmedabad, where I grew, and Vidyanagar, where I studied architecture. And immediately after my graduation, I shifted to Pune. The journey looks 3 different spots, but to me, it's a one single journey, which was probably driven by my parents, who introduced me to good art teachers, good schools, and good family culture to live together, grow as an individual uh, person. And I'm thankful to my parents who introduced Osho. Since you mentioned Osho, Osho has been my actually a driving force to inject passion, in whatever you do. And been lucky to have master like Osho, especially having seen him live, giving discourses to thousands of people sitting together in a pin drop silence. I don't think I'll ever forget, this scenario. I've never seen anybody speaking with such a pin drop silence. And you can't miss even a single word the way he used to describe what he wanted to actually convey in a very humorous but in a very intelligent way. I find that he as a master showed the way that everything what we do has been actually designed and presented well. To me, these are the roots levels that whatever you do, you might be cleaning floor, might be talking, or might be doing the designing furniture or a building, or even matter of cooking. You are basically designing something which is supposed to convey and share among others. So the journey, of course, I was quite keen to do something related to the design and art. I had no clue what architecture is, but my father's brother, my uncle, introduced me. Though since he was civil engineer, he mentioned to me that what architecture is. I didn't understand much about it, but he said, "You are a good person to become an architect." So I asked him, "How many marks you require in a 12th?" He says, and I told him, there was the biggest benefit you will get. You need only 55%.
Yeah.
And then you can apply for architecture. I said, this relieves me, Then you need to have a good drawings skills. Fortunately, I had that, okay. So I said, "Okay, then this is my favorite." And other thing was that I used to study in AG High School,
Navrangpura,
Navrangpura,
near Commerce College.
near Commerce College. And my home was near university. So I used to walk through uh, campus of SEPT to go to my school.
Correct.
And I used to love this campus. I didn't understand what this campus was, but I loved the way people would sit together and do studies and sketching and drawing and painting. And I used to see Piraji Sagra was always sitting under the tree and making paintings and sculpture and all that. So I used to admire that. And what I did that I used to whatever I saw there, I used to go and practice at home.
Wow.
It was very simple. You take a pencil and just start doing things. And it looks so simple because I used to see Piraji Sagra.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
I said, oh, good. But that gave me a sort of insight about how to apply your artistic skills, how to observe things, how to put it in a more articulated way, but in a very artistic, pattern on paper or on a stone or on a clay or mud. And the buildings, I mean, everybody knows SEPT, okay? The entire campus was so friendly to human against all others, including my own school and other colleges I used to see around. They look like those boxes, match boxes, where here you can flow with the space, you can sit on the steps, you see the garden, you see people sitting under a tree and having chai. It was an amazing experience. And that drove me to confirm that I would love to become an architect. And then I got admission in IIT, Vadodara. I fell short by 3 marks to get an aptitude test for SEPT. And it was a blessing in disguise that I had to move out of Ahmedabad. And to me, that was a changing point. At that time, I was a bit disappointed, but then I realized that this was actually a blessing because I moved out of Ahmedabad to look at the world first ever time, after the 12th. And I always advise people that you must move out after 12th.
Leave your comfort zone.
Yes, be on your own.
Yeah.
Take all the decisions on your own. Where to spend money, where to save money, where to earn money, how to deal with the strangers, how to deal with your own responsibilities, which otherwise your parents, cover well. And these are the few important aspects in a life which drives you to become a more independent human being and also compassionate with the other people around. Because everyone is also individually within themselves, as you are. And you have always something to learn from everyone you can interact with, because everyone has their own stories and life lessons to share with you.
Like that Bhagwan who said
Yes.
52 gurus.
Yes. And I see that everyone you meet, is a
Yeah,
guru.
he's teaching something,
Probably,
contributing.
as long as you are ready to learn from them, they are there, to put.
Yeah.
So this is how the journey happened, and I went to Baroda. Baroda, our college had hardly any infrastructure compared to SEPT, but I found superb set of faculty, amazing, so down to earth, made me so comfortable, and I was appreciated by my sketching and all. So this is all went through good. The passion grew by listening artists, architects, designers, some engineers visiting our faculty. But some of them have touched my life. When you're first year out of your home, except your parents, who else can make you comfortable? First time I realized that there are people in the world, they want to share their knowledge and pass it on to you to be a student. If you are passionate, they have some more to give you. And the journey began, okay? I didn't know that it would take me now 40 years gone. I took admission in 1983. So 42 years are gone.
I was 1 year old.
But I still feel that my journey, which started as a student, is still in a continual form.
Hmm.
So journey is not of being an architect, but more of being a student, even till today. And I wish that's a beautiful form of you being ready to receive, perceive, explore, learn, and figure it out how to grow more. And there's a kind of a thirst. As much as you drink, you become, more thirsty. And in all aspects, and architecture especially, is not only restricted to the buildings. To me, it's basically touching to the human life. Because you are constantly dealing for people who are going to occupy your build forms. The space is what you're going to design. So, though we call architecture, as a form of technology and art, but to me, it's a true art for making humans to be more human,
Hmm.
okay, to be more close to nature. And architecture can actually act as a device to connect everyone using the building to go more close to nature, not only visually, but internally. Okay. And this is how I see that architect can play a major role in order to create those um, sentimental spaces for everyone to settle down, with themselves under the cocoon of what we call it building. So the journey, and of course, having master of reading Osho, I got introduced and somehow could connect with the theory of organic architecture
Hmm.
given by Frank Lloyd Wright.
Hmm.
Somehow I could see that Frank Lloyd Wright, what he was speaking, and Osho, and both were speaking about Lao Tzu.
Hmm.
And I was wondering that what has to do with Frank Lloyd Wright to do Lao Tzu, and Osho also speaking about Lao Tzu. And I read a book called Tao Te Ching, was like all compilation of stories of Lao Tzu.
Hmm.
The sage happened in China and has introduced some wonderful, meaningful stories to learn from. And I must tell you that one lesson I learned from that book, Tao Te Ching, explained by Lao Tzu, has never been taught by any of the architecture college across all the colleges I have been to. And I was surprised that the master key lies not in the academics, in this wisdom which has been there among all these masters. And then I could start putting and relating everything together.
So jigsaw come into place, you know,
Yeah.
the entire jigsaw
And you
fell
can
into
see,
place.
but the
Yeah.
center point is the same.
Yeah.
And that sentence of Lao Tzu touched the innermost core to look at architecture. And that somehow opened up, all the windows. And I felt free of all the academia, all the theories, because that sums up everything. Then whatever you're doing is a superficial thing, but the core is touched. And we are blessed, especially in India or in Oriental countries, that master like Lao Tzu, Osho, Kabir, J. Krishnamurti, they've been here, talking, sharing their experiences, which can open those windows of your journey, irrespective of in which field you are. Maybe architecture or medicine, engineering, or maybe IT profession, anything. To me, it's nothing to do with what we practice, okay, as our career, but something to do with how we practice it, how we apply ourselves as human being,
Hmm.
by which we are meant to contribute, into this beautiful world where we are guest for maybe 80 to 100 years. Okay.
And we have to add value,
Yes.
ideally. We should
And
add
how do
value.
we? Yes, Osho has said that
Yeah.
that leave this world more beautifully than you found when you were born.
True. True.
Okay, and this is something which one has to really do it. Whether you practice architecture
Or do anything.
or you do cooking, okay,
Yeah.
see that the world is beautiful more than
What you got?
what you got.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
And that's why God has made us as human beings, okay, as an opportunity to serve the world. So this is how I see. The journey of architecture is a sideline to me. And how I came to Pune from Vidyanagar is just, I had come for 3 days to attend a meditation camp.
Okay.
In 91, as soon as I got a certificate in my hand for architecture. The next day I was here because I had to give my thesis to my guide in Bombay. Unfortunately, he was not there. He was out for 3 days. I said, I come to Pune, meditate, and then I'll go back.
Hmm.
Now 3 days I was turned out to be 1 week, then 3 weeks.
Then Pune never left you.
Yeah. Now it's 34 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm here, well set, with a lovely studio around, lovely people around. And the journey is something which has been destined, to be this way, having our passion driving in our whatever, we do. And when architecture, of course, has been my passion, grew up more as an architect and enjoying every project coming to us as a jigsaw puzzle to solve, a challenge to face, more thrilling experience. And we do have, fortunately, a choice of projects to take, how to manage them, and we got a great team developed over the practice of now almost 30 years. So it's something which is amazing, okay. And still, though the journey of being student stays, the practice is of course helping you to become more and better student, okay. What we call our practice and what we design building called architecture is a kind of a way of experimenting, learning, exploring, and seeing things as they come. And I'll tell you, the beauty of our profession is that as the project changes, the client changes, the location changes, the climate changes, the time changes. So it's something new. Okay. Our way of handling project remains the same, but you are dealing with a completely new. It's like a new movie you sit, and then okay, now you have new actors, new producers,
New set.
and new stories. And thrilling. You never know what is going to happen in the end, and you are going, into the kind of a cave, passing through, finding a way, digging your way, and it's very thrilling and beautiful. And in the whole process, what I have seen is that we have um, of course, our design ideas to put. When you're working for somebody else, you have to put them also in your shoes. You have to put them in. Sorry, you have to put our feet into their shoes. Then we have to see things in a more. Of course, and as the experience grows, you are much more mature to manage, things. You are a great team, and we have three teams to work with. One is the our own team, then client's team, and there's a technology, which is a third team. So if I use it like you're driving a car, okay, you may go with a good companion with you, but you need a car which is also companion, which leads you to somewhere else. And I realized that, and the fourth team is my own infrastructure, within which we sit. We create an environment here to be more creative, to be more free, breathe fresh air, get more natural light. What we preach in our own architecture, we see that we practice it in our own daily studio space. And fortunately now, the practice over last 30 years has changed. When I started my practice, I used to have a drafting board, T-squares, set squares, and all stencils and everything. Of course, the one thing which has remained common from that time to this time of computer age, hand sketches.
Nothing can replace that.
So your brain and your hand are just simply constantly driving some ideas
That's
around.
like hand brain connect.
Yes.
You have to have that hand brain connect. Otherwise, any tool you use, if there is no hand brain connect, it's no use. You can be driving a Mercedes or Audi or BMW, but if there is no hand brain connect, you will drive it very badly.
Yes. Or you may lose out the sensitive aspect of enjoying the drive.
Yeah, correct.
So our case also is the same. Of course, that you are constantly churning out the ideas through your hand sketches, but they need to be converted into something by which the project can be executed. Your ideas can actually take shape into the reality, and that has. And then we need a people team. Fortunately, I've been having great team support. Their enthusiasm is next level, and everyone wants to contribute to good work. And there's a joy of creating something along with the challenges and thrills which we don't want to miss out. Um, and I remember the first day when we had a computer, I did not know how to even use email. Okay, the first computer came with a box, doing something like this. Somehow I could never get a hook on the computers. But everybody who's working and joining me were quite keen to see that sketches are converted into AutoCAD. And we almost did a practice of 25 years with AutoCAD. Now, we realize that AutoCAD is not a option left anymore because you need a lot more complex ideas to be converted into reality. You need a 3D model. You need to visualize. What you visualize has to be seen.
Correct.
And computer has to really help you. And this technology has grown to amazing level. And that's what has helped us to now see that a practice is not just restricted by putting 2D drawings. To let everybody pursue according to their understanding. Now we can rotate the drawing. We can make them in 3D. We can show them, render them, check how the daylight would come in, how the 3D form has its own implications against the human being walking into it. And all aspects of building can be informed within the model, what we virtually create on computer is a mind-blowing. And I must thank to Dimension Plus to introduce Archicad. Before that, I tried Revit and all, but somehow I could feel that this is not a tool, which architect must use it unless it is really just a, primary model to be made. But the creative process has to be also there as an integral part of your uh, design development. And I must now praise the software called Archicad. The first thing because it has a Archi word. I mean, it's something. I remember Archi Garba, we used to have it in
Yeah, I know. I know. Arki Garba.
So I call this also Archi Garba. We call it Archi Garba only here.
Yeah.
I call it Archi Garba because I love that word Archi Garba. We used to manage Garba there.
Yeah, I know.
Our batch was one of the pioneer, who started doing this.
Yeah.
So
And it is still going on.
Still going on,
at
yes,
IED.
the IED,
and
yes.
people
40s.
from all alumni go and participate in that
Yes.
Garba. So
Yes.
I know the craze for
Craze
IED
for the
Garba.
IED Garba. So when I Revit looked like something which is for engineers and something looked like fishy thing. But when I heard word Archicad, I said this is something more intimate. Okay, and actually it is that way because we could adapt it well. We could see that off. And the way the Dimension Plus team helped us to implement the entire program and converting ourselves from AutoCAD to 3D BIM software has made a quite a wide opening to manage our technical integration while designing and developing the building on our softwares and hardwares. And of course, that though they are tools, our focus is always on the final result, what we actually experience on the building. But we must thank all the teams, who has contributed to create a better buildings. So first is of course our own architecture team, design team, studio team, then the clients team, who equally respond to our
accepted
thing.
your ideas. Yeah.
Then our infrastructure, which has the two aspects. One is the software and one is the hardware.
True.
The hardware is our own building, infrastructure, our computers, our furniture, our tables, our steps, our file cabinets. They all help us to do good work, especially the books and libraries. And the third is the software. And the software is the most important aspects, which is not seen anywhere. It's like just your, your own soul
Yeah, it's there.
is
It
there.
exists. You
I mean,
breathe and
today
you
you and
use.
me breathe and
Yeah, we breathing.
yes, but they are like, but not seen, okay?
Yeah.
Unless and until I speak and laugh and smile and emotionally
Yeah.
we express ourselves. I think the software plays that role. That gives you power and energy to put your hardware on, on action. Okay. So this is how our practice is. Okay. And we actually enjoy each and every aspect of our practice. Being creative, being technologically advanced, and being attentive to details, technology, materials available all over the world,
Hmm.
and applying all of them together in a synchronized way. We call ourselves as our TAO architecture practice.
Yeah. Thank you for that answer. Now my next, I mean, usually there is this notion that architects are creative, and on top of that you are coming from a very strong spiritual background also. So, usually there is this notion that architects are creative and we have to think about design.
Mm.
And okay, technology can be anything, whoever comes to my office brings in whatever they know, whatever way they working. But I have realized in your office, your organization, you are actually, very technology driven. I'm not talking only about the technology you use for your drawing production or your documentation. I know because I have worked so closely with your team and even your admin team that even for your administration and your, the entire process in the back end, also you are using technology, which is like connected technology, enterprise technology. So basically, in a nutshell, I want your message for all the creative minds who feel that architecture is about creativity. So what was your drive, or what was that one spark where being so creative, so passionate and so spiritual, and you still, started thinking about technology? I mean, I know from where I see, there is no difference in these two. But I want to know from your perspective, what is your perspective on this? Because usually the notion is spiritual and creative people don't think about technology. It's very mundane. So what was that click or that drive?
See, to me, our whatever we do is a good integral composition of art and technology. For instance, you as human being may be creative and more passionate, but you need a good hardware called your own healthy body.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't have good hardware, your software has no meaning. And if you have only good hardware, but if you don't have software also, then your hardware has no meaning.
True.
I have seen people, who look very handsome but dumb, okay?
Yeah, those with six
Huh.
pack abs and working out
No,
2 hours
that
and
also, that's okay, but you have to be intelligent. You have to be, you know, good human being.
true.
You can't be, like so-called handsome only or beautiful only. To me, it has to be combined together. Hardware and software, they go hand in hand. See, software is usually without hardware and hardware is usually without software.
True.
According to us, you may have a creative flair, being passionate to do something good, but in the today's world, the technology is one which is actually the helping you to bring your creativity out. It's like putting bucket into the well, okay? If you don't have bucket, you can't get, the water out, okay? So this is exactly the same thing. The bucket, you use it with the technology. Our forefathers used to use a bucket,
True.
okay? Simple
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah.
But the technology, otherwise you remain, what you do with the water when it is quite deep inside? You have to actually draw it out from within also.
Right.
So you need a technology. You need a pencil to actually make sketches. You need a computer to convert your sketches into a 3D, models. And then the 3D models need to convert into drawings which can go on the site And though somebody has to really convert that technological drawings into the construction application
Execution.
and execute them. Again, you need a technology to put, and there is a constant communication from one spot to other spot to third spot to fourth spot. And there is a way gradually we pass on the details and reach in the end when you hand over a project for a client to live in is something which is nothing but a technology. I find that the technology is always there to serve human being.
Correct.
So it's a beautiful servant available to you, provided you understand and get them on board and see that they are at your service. So technology is the most important aspects today. I mean, we can fly from here to US in a one go. What is that? Nothing but technology. So you might be spiritual, but you can't fly to US to be spiritual. You have to have you
A
have to
tool.
have a tool to
Tool.
go.
Tool.
And tools are beautiful nowadays. So you have to choose whether you want to go to US by cycle or by flight. Okay, choice is yours. Both have their own pros and cons.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have to apply right technology to travel wherever you want to go, with what purpose and in what time.
So that brings me to my next thought, or rather next inquisitiveness, that out of so many tools around, so many, we call them software vendors, software providers, or software companies, what was your criteria for selection? Usually we have this criteria for selection. Let's say if I go out and purchase clothing, so I would want neutral colors, I would want a special type of fabric that can breathe. So these are the criteria, and obviously being a good Jew, I would also want a good discount, whichever product I am buying, so I will wait when is the discount. So what was your criteria for selecting?
See, it's a very simple common sense that whatever you buy or choose to go for, which is going to be integral part of your life or your action, you look at two things. One is what is give and take, what best you want to get out of it. Okay, you have to be ready to barter in the same way. So if you are choosing something best, you have to check whether you're ready to give best. Who is selling that or who is providing you that? Okay, so it goes in a very mutual way. You can buy cheap things, by having a cheaper options to give or economical option to give. Of course, that doesn't mean that you just simply throw money out, but you have to have a calculative approach that what are the advantages you are planning to get against what you are ready to pay for it. And my system is that I first select what I am looking for and what that thing will help to add value to whatever the product or the services I am choosing from. And accordingly, if that fits to your need, which is going to help and add a lot of value to your own practice, your way of operating things, the easiness what you require being human, and again the technology should come in a major play of helping you out to provide you easiness of operating whatever you want to do with that. So criteria are very simple and everything has its own cost. I keep the cost as a secondary aspect. Of course, I would love to negotiate and ensure that I pay the right price. And that's something which you have your own ability, or through your advisors, you must figure it out what is true price of it. But your focus should be always on why you are getting into that purchase, and that purchase is going to serve your purpose, and it's along with the purpose is going to add any specific values, and with the specific values you're going to get the results which you are expecting out of it. And that's simple criteria. And I have seen, and I know my criteria as an architect is that I got the best of the best infrastructure to make me more creative, which would add life to my own practice. I must have best team who can provide the best results, and and then whoso involves in also becomes a part of a celebration of doing something creative. And I even to choose chair also, I have to see that it's worth paying for it, so that you can comfortably sit, move whenever you want to move. Okay, you can have a dialogue, you can have a comfortable state of body posture, and it applies to the software we buy, hardware we buy. We got the best hardware, best server, it can store. We got the best systems applied to enjoy the integration of various different softwares, and we got the best BIM software to see that our work flows like a jet aeroplane, okay, and to really put our thought processes and creative ideas fly. There are no opposite requires maybe extra fuel, extra training, and you need a best pilot, okay, for if you have to drive a good jet. So you have to see that your team is well trained, because anything you buy, one must have a way of training your own self to adapt and understand the product which you go to actually apply. And if you got a best product and best training and best learner, probably you start getting the use of this good product. You might have best car, okay, but if you do not know how to drive, it has no meaning. So, but if the good driver gets the best car, then there is good result. So I find that everything is all relevant to what you want to get as a result. Then you go for what you want to have as a tool to use that and bring that as a process to meet your desired result.
So is your choice of software or software provider is fitting well with your this celebration of life that you call architecture?
Yes.
Is going well with your is it syncing? Is it helping?
Yes, it is of course very interesting that that we can visualize our buildings, we can rotate them, we can see from inside, outside, and move through and walk through while virtually constructing it. And then that model is getting ready to cut sections, to see elevations, to explore various options, and of course clash detections, because our buildings are not just boxes or RCC. It has masonry work, it has various different services getting into the technology, the finishes, the quality of light inside, the natural light, simulations for the environmental assessment, thermal insulations, all insulations. And the science of building to be well designed is not just an elevation. To me, there are 100 more layers beyond elevations to be verified, and that all nowadays software can do. The technology has grown to that level. Once you feed all the information in your model, it starts giving you results what you expect. What I'm not happy about it is that our human limitation is falling short against the technology what it is ready to share and deliver. And that requires a passion, that requires inquiries, that requires explorations of the software and the hardwares to actually get the best result out of it. And to me, nowadays, the technology is challenging human.
Yeah.
That, okay, use me. Use me.
If you can.
If you can.
Yeah, if you can.
And by the time, that the time is gone, oh, 8 hours complete, okay, of a day. The technology is always ready, tirelessly ready to work with you, which is something which is amazing. And that also technology helps you as human being to relax because like it takes your all other tedious work done.
Yeah. True.
Renderings, you just have to feed right informations and then it will do. And they are like robots actually.
I always say, and I think in our initial discussions also, I always told you that my entire focus on technology for architects is because I want architects to have more time to design better buildings. Technology should take care of all the mundane tasks.
Yes.
I'm not saying that they are not so useful tasks, but mundane tasks. Like, creating 100 drawings out of one building, or presenting or composing sheets, or creating presentations, or probably having a presentation where you can see 2D and 3D all together. So all these things, if can be done by technology, I feel that that's the best use of technology. Like, when I was a student at IPSA, I started learning Archicad for one simple reason. I'm talking about year 2002. I knew nothing about BIM. I knew nothing about what is BIM, and in fact, BIM was not even a word then. The word was what you very rightly said, virtual building. So you build virtually before you build actually. That was actually the punchline of Archicad. You build virtually before you build actually. My core reason for that was that I used to get 5 minutes to discuss with design faculty. Like, you were also visiting faculty. We used to get 5 minutes each. My pain was that I'm drafting. I mean, nothing against drafting. Even today, if you ask me, I can do amazing drafting with pencil, parallel, and set square on a cartridge sheet with proper line weights. And my teacher are your
Yashin
and mine,
Vibhakar.
Yashin Vibhakar. So we have this habit of rotating pencil even today. It rotates no matter whenever we draft.
Yes.
But I always had this that, I have to draft for 5 hours and I get to discuss 5 minutes with my faculty. And that too, we are discussing more about drawing quality. So I was looking for a technology which takes care of my drawing output so I can focus more on design. And that's why I am here with you. So since we were discussing on this, you said that constant training, constant update is required for technology. So how currently you are dealing with this? Let's say a new talent is coming and that person knows nothing about Archicad or BIM. So what is your process? How you go ahead with that?
See, if you want to really use this tool as your primary help, technological help or support, we have to ensure that it is um, taught to the people who do not know. So, of course, we ask people that, at least learn the basics before joining us. And nowadays, the online courses are there and the tutorials are available on YouTube. And the new generation is quite smart to learn. So rather, I find it's much easier to ask new generation to learn about the software. Like my generation would not be personally. I have not learned, but I think that I have something else to learn. To do things as my job. But the people are now quite quick to learn about the software. Second is that there are tutorials available. The tuition teachers are available online. Like Dimension Plus help us. As soon as we put new employee, they immediately you know get to this Dimension Plus tutorial team, and they are available to teach, to raise, answer the queries. All those aspects are quite easily manageable. Now I don't personally see all the aspects, but I don't see that as a challenge anymore. And see, this tool is new. India is, according to me, is still far behind adopting this kind of a tool. And I still wonder why our colleges are not, because I tell you, the professors are also old to really apply this. And I don't know why these kind of 3D tools are not applied in our colleges and left as electives. To me, how can it be elective? It should be your primary tool.
It's going to be your bread and
Yeah,
butter.
bread and butter. No, it's just your. It's good. You go to live with it.
Yeah.
You have to have. For instance, people adopt the telephone now.
Yeah.
You can't ask people to buy those telephones where you used to ring the phone now.
Yeah.
Now
The dial pad.
smartphones are available. So there are smart softwares available, and still in our college they teach us how to ring phone call by using 10 numbers available and memorizing your each number, opening your book separately and all this. This is what we are doing with the AutoCAD. And I wish that sooner or later all the faculties and academic courses would understand if the new generation architects would start actually contributing to the academics. And I wish that the old generation of academicians must learn that you may not be interested in instance, even I am not interested in learning, but that doesn't mean that you deprive young generation to learn about the technology which we are very well capable of, and you're contributing better, in a much better way, much faster way to the development what we need as architects to provide to the world.
Two things here. We all must thank Manish sir for giving the idea of this entire training module, that was your idea, that you want to hire someone and you are still not clear that you will hire that person or not, and you want to test how that person is adaptive towards technology. So I still remember 4 years back you asked me to prepare a special course which is like shorter version of entire Archicad course, which is onboarding. And today TAO onboarding. So we literally have that course on our portal, TAO onboarding, which is like one of the highest applied courses on our online learning portal, TAO onboarding. And after that, when they come to Archicad Essentials, that is like second highest, because that's the full course. But I still remember we discussing this probably in the same room 4 years back, that there should be a course for onboarding, and we test that okay, in 1 week how much this person could learn, and there should be test followed by it, and then I should share result with your admin team, HR team. So we all should thank you for that it was your idea. We just did few things, few chapters here and there. Another thing that you very rightly said is young generation should explore. I feel that I mean, I agree with your point that colleges should also promote, but I feel that young generation is losing out on inquisitiveness. So I also have a spiritual master, and he always used to say, or he still says, that Indian youth is, suffering from AIDS, and that is not that AIDS. It is acquired inquisitiveness deficiency syndrome. So the inquisitiveness deficiency is killing the generation. They are not inquisitive. Like I can tell you, when I was learning Archicad or new technologies, probably I have learned more than 20 softwares during my college days, and every time I felt that no, still better, still better, still better. After learning Archicad also, I learned various other BIM softwares like Revit, Vectorworks, Allplan, MicroStation. I learned all of them, and then I no, no, my Archicad is, I mean, I should switch back to that. So that was kind of journey, and I'm talking about a time where we used to have cyber cafes. So there was no online learning possibility. We used to go and sit in a queue at a cyber cafe, and someone is doing nonsense, or just entertainment or playing games on internet in the cyber cafe cubicle, and we have to wait for our turn to come, and then we go and just start learning, or ask that question to online community that I'm stuck at this point, how to resolve this. So, and I think that today's generation having all means and all internet and 5G, will have 6G, 7G. But if that doesn't move ahead of seeing the reels, like something very disturbing I was reading, that Instagram thought that 30-second is the reel which is people watch. Now they are trying another format of 10 seconds. So that is the attention span going, from 30 seconds to 10 seconds. So, I mean, more than, okay, colleges will do their role. You are doing your role as a principal architect. But young generation also should learn two things, or rather practice two things. One is inquisitiveness and another is loyalty. That is also I have seen in young generation that, they have very short span of attention. They don't want to learn anything new. And if they learn, they want to jump to next thing. Architecture is not a profession like that. You cannot jump from one place to another place, or one office to another. I mean, if someone feels that you learn everything in 2 years in an office, then it is wrong. It's impossible. I mean, it's what, 17 years with Archicad, and I still feel that I am still at 30%. So sometimes I get surprised by the way people jump jobs, or the way people jump, things or topics. The attention span is going shorter. So I would also add to what you said is young generation should increase on their attention span and their inquisitiveness. There can be a better thing. So probably someone will come out with a better idea than Archicad, or they may create another version being an architect of, which is maybe still better than Dimension Plus. पर उसके लिए भी वो 17 साल तो देना पड़ेगा ना. यहाँ पे तो 17 मिनट देने को लोग रेडी नहीं है. 17 साल कहाँ से देंगे? Okay, I mean, looking at the time, let's start winding up our
Yes.
session. So last couple of points rather. So one thing you felt that, which is beyond ordinary, which Dimension Plus is doing or did for you?
I tell you, the hand-holding implementation of the software to our team, especially coming over here in our own studio, helping everyone to really, first of all, get interested in, making them aware about the advantages, the value additions, what software can provide. And tell you, they are so happy now. Now you ask them to do AutoCAD work. They run away from the office. They ask me to remove all the AutoCAD. We don't want any AutoCAD one. Because they say it looks so dumb to work in some drawing which is no third dimension at all. And architecture is never there without third dimension. So now as people have got used to it, and I must thank Dimension Plus to see that they are always available as a support team, because they have not only sold the software to us, but they have sold the level of confidence and commitment to be with us throughout the journey, what we're going to walk through, in order to use the technology which would help us to ease out our way of practicing. And such practices of hand-holding implementation is worth because see, you can buy software, but they are more complex and they keep on evolving all the time. And these kind of services are very important, especially run by architects themselves. See, otherwise I have seen, we had some other engineers had come here in our office to teach us about a software called Revit. So they had no clue about what we were doing. They only knew what dimensions and what brick wall and what RCC and metal we are using. But they were not looking at that hidden dimension of a space which architect can understand it. And so it's very important that as architects we get a support from the professionals who are architects but helping us in the specialized field. For instance, if let's say we have a salesman who comes to sell a marble, imagine if he was an architect, he would put marble in a different way than somebody who wants to come and just simply sell it out with a per square foot rate. Has no clue what is the difference between real marble and artificial tile which looks like a marble. Okay, they tell us the same thing. बोले सर इतना खर्चा क्यों करने का? Same marble ही दिखता है. Okay, now you cannot tell them, no. It makes big difference. That, and I tell you, architecture is a lot more sensitive field. Architects by professional, even though they may not be practicing architecture, they are sensitive enough to understand the criteria what architect requires to choose things for. And that's very, very important. And that is what I like about Dimension Plus, that they in their team, the architects who are teaching us about the software. So we are all almost on the same footsteps, walking together.
That brings me to my last point. I mean, so value for money, if we talk about, because we both are good Jews, so value for money is like here for us. Value for money for two aspects. One is software and other is implementation and handholding. On a scale of 1 to 100, where would you put value for money for the software like Archicad that you have chose? And it's like quite 5 years now, so you are legit and eligible to talk about that also. So value for money you put on Archicad, a particular software, technology on a scale 1 is to 100, and second is value for money you have put in on implementation, handholding on a scale of 1 is to 100. How valuable, which, I mean, how will you rate?
See, if I look at all possible options I had, out of which I selected Archicad, I would value 1 is to 100, all 100%. Because there is no good option available. The value which is devaluing of the software is that our capacity is to use and apply it in our work. Unfortunately, I myself am not well versed with the computers. So that's the only thing I find is a hindrance in pushing my team to go to the much higher level. And I expect that from Dimension Plus to actually ensure that our team gets the best approach of applying the software. So I would definitely give 100, because the result what I'm getting as an architect, to see what I'm thinking, is actually, we are there almost 90%. 10% I have to keep on always adding. I always see the limitation of the person who is working on it, or limitation of the communication channel we might have it, which falls short. But I always see Archicad is waiting. लाओ और डिटेल लाओ और इंफॉर्मेशन दो ना हमको, दो ना. And then, but the information has to be provided by an architect. Okay?
Correct.
So that bucket is so wide that you keep on filling it, filling it. It requires always, okay, bring in. It consumes anything, whatever you feed in as a building information model.
And how would you rate, value for money for
Then
implementation that you
I
have, the
tell you
entire
again,
consultation thing?
I would
I'll
give.
tell you why I'm asking this question, because there is this notion in market these days that we can purchase the software and we can hire somebody who knows how to use the software, and that is implementation. So basically I want the audience to understand how important implementation is.
See, this software is so complex in its adaptability that unless and until you're handheld, no, you might miss out certain criteria which are worth learning. And to me, why not to have handholding implementation process? And I give 100 mark to out of 100 to Dimension Plus. The way their availability was there, their passionate approach of teaching software to the team. And I remember some team members were not happy at all adopting this. Now they themselves are very happy. So what does it mean? That there's somebody has done a trick to first adopt it, learn it, and then now training them constantly. And also it's an evolution process. So I always would give, because there are no other options. I don't think that only purchase of a software would have added, any value to us. Tell you, many people have adopted this software, but because they didn't implement it, it has gone in a scrap.
I am also aware about such cases. Yeah,
And they think that this is useless.
true.
But they don't know that it takes time, okay? But you need to have a right approach to learn the software and apply it in its best way. And why not when somebody, I tell you, everybody needs a guru, okay, to learn. We go to guru of our own to learn about life. Why not, hand-holding process even in the software? For instance, today you can have trainers for everything you want to learn. You can have a best chef teaching you how to cook. Probably, or if you want to play a flute, you have to go there. You can't buy a flute and start learning. I mean, what is that? I mean, it's something you need people to put you, on a track. And maybe at one point, you may start, doing things. Why we go to college, pay fees to train ourselves as an architect? I mean, you can learn architecture by yourself also.
Yeah.
But when there is a specific course and a way of getting you into the whole process of understanding about the subject, there is a course of 5 years. I mean, it's not something easy. So there are courses available, and that is most important. Of course, there are architects who become architect without having a course, but there are rare cases.
Yeah.
Remember, there's nothing wrong in it. But you can't take a chance, and waste your time. Okay. So unless you are made that rare case, by God, I would not. And you don't know who is rare case, okay?
Yeah.
It's better you go on a college and learn something about it.
Thank you. Thank you for your input and insights.
And all the thing what I am giving marks is not because we are friends, okay?
Yeah, I understand.
I totally respect, but I always see that it's basically how given marks 100 out of 100 is that this how it has worked in our own practice. Otherwise, I don't think we would have been so well adapted, by this software. And I am telling you, the software has adapted us now. Okay.
That's
So
what
thank you very
implementation
much.
is all about.
Yes.
When the software, which is actually out of the box, actually adopts your way of working.
Yes.
That is exactly the difference between training and implementation. See, you can get trained on Archicad or any software in 20 hours. There are courses. I am telling, there are courses you can learn Archicad in 20 hours in just 1000 rupees. That is called training. That I give free of cost to all your new employees. But when it comes to implementation is actually when the software adopts to your way of working. And that's where we focused. So we had an amazing time today with architect Manish Banker sir. And I would sum up that we learned 5 things, like 5 dimension. The first thing we learned is that if you find that core reason of being, or core drive, that actually makes everything fall in place and the entire jigsaw puzzle is resolved. All pieces will come together, and that will make you liberated, that will make you stress free. Then everything will become easier, be it architecture, life, everything becomes easier if you find that one core reason or one core point. The second thing that we learned is, if you have internal drive or clarity, you become like a water. You will find your ways. And obviously, you should never ever forget your parents, your parental teaching, your teachers, and you always have to come out of your comfort zone. The third thing that we discussed today was about, you know, education being an important part. And in education, teachers and students should also learn latest technologies or new trends or whatever new is coming. So that is third thing. The fourth thing that we discussed and touched upon was about this entire idea of that if you have spirituality, if you have good creativity, you still need a tool, which is technology. If you are spiritual, if you are very creative and you want to attend a seminar or an exhibition in Italy, you still need to fly. So that is importance of technology. And the fifth thing that we discussed upon is the importance of structured learning. I mean, yes, organic learning happens in all creative fields. In life also, organic learning is the most important thing. But when it comes to technology or something futuristic or complex, structured learning is important. So what sir said is that structured learning will make complexities easy.
Yes, and they save time.
Yeah.
Because somebody has learned that and you are learning from them.
Yeah.
And you don't have to learn everything by yourself. I mean, so if somebody can teach you to and put you on a faster track, it's better to do that.
So these are the 5 dimensions or 5 senses. And if you want to add some other sense to it, like 6.
Yeah, there's always 6 sense after 5 sense. Is that one must be simple being human and must have love and passion for what you do. If you have that love and passion, the nature drives you to learn whatever you want to learn. Why such good musicians, some good painters, and some good scientists? Just because they had a love and passion, they grew. And that applies to architecture as well.
Yeah, true. So these are the 6 dimensions or 6 senses which we touched upon today. And it was an amazing time. Thank you all for watching us, listening us, and be part of our journey. Thank you so much everyone who are watching us, and thank you so much sir. Learned a lot and learning from you always.
Sharing with you.
Always.
Yes, and thanks to the team who is
the entire crew who are doing this. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Yes, and all the best to Dimension
Plus. Thank you sir.
You already got 6 dimensions, now you have a Dimension Plus always.
Sure sir.
There is always something plus to do. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you sir. Thank you.